So psychoanalytic social theory is based on the work of Horney, and one of the first women psychoanalysts. Here's a picture of her with her doggie. Most of Horney's writings are concerned with neurotic personality, but some can be applied to normal personalities. Horney was also had ideas about feminine psychology and the application of psychotherapy. Similar background to Melanie Klein, which we haven't talked about yet, but we will. Other women psychoanalysts. She trained in Europe with classically Freudian analysts, objected to Freud's view of women, instead believing that culture, not anatomy, was responsible for psychic differences between men and women. She helped found the Chicago Psychoanalytic Institute and had a close relationship with Eric Fromm that, didn't go very well. Horney and Freud were very different. She believed that strict adherence to psychoanalysis would lead to stagnation in theory and practice. She objected to Freud's belief about women's psyches, especially the electrocomplex. Psychoanalysis should move beyond instinct theory and emphasize the importance of cultural influences in shaping personality. You cannot overemphasize the importance of culture. Culture emphasizes competition among individuals. The basic hostility that emerges from competition results in feelings of isolation. These feelings of being alone in a potentially hostile world lead to intensified need for affection, which causes people to overvalue love. As a result, many people see love and affection as a solution for their problems. Genuine love can only be healthy and growth-producing experience, but the desperate need for love provides fertile ground for development of neuroses. Culture contributes to this vicious cycle by cultural teaching of kinship and humility that are contrary to attitudes, namely aggression and the drive to win. Society's demands for success and achievement are nearly endless, so that normal people have new additional goals placed on them all of the time. Furthermore, Western society tells people that they are free and can accomplish anything with hard work and effort without regard to genetics, social position, or competitiveness of others. These contradictions all stem from cultural, not biological influences. Childhood is where the vast majority of life and neurotic problems stem from. Even more debilitating personal problems have all of their roots traced back to lack of genuine warmth and affection. From childhood experiences, she determined that people who rigidly repeat patterns of behavior do so because they interpret new experiences in this manner consistent with those previously established patterns. So in some ways, this is very much like attachment theory and some aspects of different theorists like Adler. Most normal people use any of the three modes of relating to people, but neurotics are compelled to rigidly rely on only one. Neurotics' compulsive behavior generates a basic intrapsychic conflict that may take the form of either an idealized self-image or self-hatred. Idealized self-images result in a need for search for glory, or neurotic claims that may not be true, or even self-pride. Self-hatred is expressed as either self-contempt or alienation from self, being out of touch with their own reality. Protective devices are not normally a sign of neuroses, but when they become unhealthy and people feel compelled to rely on them and employ a variety of interpersonal strategies, they are called compulsions. Horney identified 10 neurotic needs that characterize neurotics' attempt to combat anxiety. They include the need for affection and approval, the neurotic need for powerful partner, the neurotic need for restricted loves, restricting one's life within narrow boundaries, the need for power, the need to exploit others, the need for social recognition or prestige, the need for personal admiration, the need for ambition and personal achievement, the need for self-sufficiency, and number 10, the need for perfection and unassailability. And so in the therapeutic process, you would explore these different needs with the therapist. These needs are boiled down to three basic trends, include moving away from people, moving toward people, and moving against people. Incidentally, these three styles correspond to many of the DSM-5 personality disorders. So moving toward people would be, for example, a dependent personality disorder. Moving against people might be an antisocial personality disorder. And moving away from people might be someone who has a schizoid personality disorder. So there's a direct correspondence with the DSM-5. Here's just an overview of what we just talked about. You can look at this later on, just or pause the video. And of course, this boils down to different neurotic trends and the sources of their neuroses. Interpsychic conflict, the two most important are idealized self-image. In an unhealthy situation, individuals develop a healthy self-confidence and security, and a healthy one. In an unhealthy environment, the individual tries to develop a sense of self-realization so as not to feel isolated and inferior. They desperately acquire a stable sense of identity that is exaggerated, and this idealized self-image can only take one of three forms: the neurotic search for glory, the need for perfection, shoulds and shouldn'ts, the tyranny of the shoulds, neurotic ambition, compulsive drive towards superiority, the drive towards vindictive triumph, and putting others to shame or humiliating other people. Feminine psychology, according to Horney, the basic anxiety is based not on sex but on cultural issues. Basic anxiety is at the core of men's needs to subjugate women's issues, to wish to humiliate men. The concept of penis envy is not tenable. That's a Freudian concept. Masculine protest, according to her and Adler, is the pathological belief that men are superior to women, leading to the neurotic desire to be a man, or a wish for all of those qualities or privileges which in our culture are relegated to as being a man or being masculine. So psychotherapy focuses on changing one or all of those neurotic trends, help patients gradually grow in the direction of self-realization by giving up their idealized self-image, relinquishing their neurotic need for glory, and changing self-hatred into acceptance and real self. Even though patients have a strong investment in maintaining status quo, they do not generally wish to remain ill. The three neurotic trends tend to be cast in favorable terms like love, mastery, and freedom. So their therapist reframes them. Because the patient usually sees their behavior as positive terms, their actions appear to them to be healthy, right, and desirable. The therapist's task then is to convince the patient that their present solutions are perpetuating rather than alleviating their core neuroses or problems which take time and effort. There's no quick fix. So Horney and others analysts take a long time to get the therapy to work. Patients must understand the differences between their idealized self and their real self. And this is accomplished through dream analysis, free associating, and generally talking. So that's Karen Horney in a nutshell.